What's up, YouTube? This is Bonanza86. It's currently 12:20 a.m. Thursday morning, and I'm making this video for you guys. Now, this is going to be a much longer video than I usually make, and it's going to have some ums and some long pauses as I'm trying to compose my thoughts right now. So, if this video is not for you, then you're more than welcome to turn it off. So, I had a Facebook status where I said, losing weight has been the best thing that I've ever done, and this video will explain why. In November of 2014, I got some lab work done because I was very, very close to having type 2 diabetes, and I was able to avoid that for a year. But in November of 2014, after getting my blood work done and calling in to see what the results were, it was confirmed that I now have type 2 diabetes. And when I found out, it, I don't know how to articulate it. I didn't break down crying, and I didn't think my life was over. I was very, I guess you'd say I was very stoic. It didn't quite hit me. I mean, I knew I had it, but I wasn't going to every website and educational book trying to learn how I could control what I had. Now, one thing that I did change though was I tried eating better, but I wasn't properly educated on what I should eat and how much I should eat in order to keep my diabetes regulated. And I also had to see the physician, my doctor again, so he could prescribe me new medication. So, on top of the lisinopril hydrochloride hybrid that I had to take, I was given 3 new medications. So, that was a financial and a mental burden in a way. I mean, I'm thankfully I have insurance, so the copay isn't too much, but the first few days of having to take the new medicines, it didn't really sit too well with me. And I managed to tell everybody in my family that I had type 2 within 48 hours. I think the main thing that I wanted to do was I didn't want them to freak out. So I was trying to stay very, very positive. And that's also what I told my doctor. I said, well, look, I know I have this. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't see this as the end of anything. I just see it as the beginning. And I see it as a reality check, So I've got to do a lot better. So my physician gave me this pamphlet about these new meal plans, and it basically said I had to restrict myself to 1,500 calories a day in order to lose weight over a substantial period of time. And I was trying. Like I said, I wasn't really properly educated. He also signed me up for a 3-part class, which I just completed. So I would eat something in the daytime, and then I would eat a very light lunch because I was trying to stay within the 1,500 calories. But the thing was, I would wait such a long time before eating. So by the time I would leave my job, I would be so hungry, and I probably ended up eating more than I should have. And so when I learned from taking these 3 classes at Bon Secours was that you can't starve yourself, and you have to eat periodically. You don't go more than 4 hours without eating something. That way you keep your A1C in check. Also, while taking this class, class to learn more about type 2 diabetes, they gave me this machine that basically have to prick my finger daily, so I have to bleed, and then the blood goes on a lancet strip, and they gave me this Accu-Check Nano, which allows me to see where my blood sugar is on a daily basis, and then I also jot it down in a little notebook that they provide for me. So that was the turning point to, life now, learning that I am now diabetic. So with the medicine and the diet regimen and then the physical exercise that I was trying to do again, because this is not the first time that I've tried to get in shape and have a healthier lifestyle. This is like my millionth attempt. And this time around, I'm trying to stick to it. I am not perfect, and I have definitely had missteps because temptation is just around the corner, and sometimes I just give in. But when I started noticing that I was making progress, and I mean real progress, it was when I was at work, and I had on my work pants, which were starting to get very loose. So the belt that I had to add extra holes in it just to keep my pants on my person. So I had my belt in the very last slot, and I was trying to reach up on the shelf to get something in my prep room, and my pants fell down. And luckily nobody saw me, so I was like, oh shit. So not a week later, I actually ended up going to the clothing store and buying brand new work pants, which were a size smaller than the ones that I had been wearing on that particular day. So that was the first thing that I was, really, really proud of myself for even making that much progress. And then I was also, charting my progress on Facebook, saying, okay, I've lost this much, I've lost this much, I've lost this much. The support was monumental, and I am forever appreciative. Now, the reason why I haven't been, keeping up with the updates is because I've backpedaled. I went on vacation in Chattanooga, and I gained some of the weight, which negated, the weight loss progress. But I have since dropped a good chunk of the weight that I gained in Chattanooga. So like I said, I'm still losing weight. At my peak, with this, like I said, this diet regimen, physical activity, taking the new medicine, my weight loss at its peak was 42 pounds. Now, I've still got to reach that, because right now I would say my weight loss is anywhere between 28 and 30 pounds. I'm just estimating. I mean, I know I can do a whole lot better. And with the losing the weight, it has affected my mentality. I feel a lot better about myself. And a subsidiary of feeling better about myself is I'm actually putting myself out there, socially. I'm trying to socially interact with other people. I'm not trying to be what I was during the previous years. I spent a good chunk of my 20s just being an introvert and a homebody. After I graduated from school, I was my daily routine was work, go home, and play on the internet. And then occasionally, if I wanted to go out, I would go see a movie. But then again, I would just go to movies solo, because I was not confident enough to ask somebody to accompany me. I mean, unless it were a family member. So this year, I made some very drastic changes. I started to ask people out, and those people agreed to accompany me to, the movie, or the bowling alley, or whatever extracurricular activity we had on the schedule. And I had a good time. I felt, like I said, I felt very proud of myself for taking that step. And you know what? Some of the times, I mean, they might say no, but I didn't feel I didn't feel like the lowest scum of the earth. I think I felt that way maybe last year. I had this blind date that was orchestrated by my sister, and then things didn't really turn out so well after that date. I mean, there was no communication at all, and then finding out that I wasn't the proper, I guess, the proper match for this particular person, it wore down on me for a couple of days. But I got over it. So even if today, this year, even if I ask someone out and they say no, then I don't feel regretful for asking them because I put myself out there, and if they say no, then I shrug, and I move on. That's basically what I've been doing. That's basically the result of me, the diagnosis that I got in November, and then the subsequent weight loss that I've been sharing with you, via this YouTube channel and on my own Facebook page, for those of you who follow me on Facebook. So, this weight loss is a blessing, and I know people are gonna call me crazy, but I think finding out that I had type 2 diabetes is also a blessing in disguise, even though at times it sucks to have it. But I think it gave me the drive, and it taught me that I am not invincible. I mean, we're all mortals. We're all going to die one day, but I don't want my death to be premature, and I don't want it to be a result of the bad life choices that I've made on my short time here on planet Earth. So that is why I've strived towards, trying to eat healthy. I mean, I am I am nowhere, I'm not doing half of the stuff that I used to do back when I was very apathetic and nonchalant, back when I just didn't care. I just went nuts. I was a binge eater, I was I had to eat something because I always wanted to feel those endorphins, in my body. I didn't have to be hungry. I just wanted to eat something. If I wasn't eating, then I felt empty. I just felt this void in my body. So now I have cut what I eat, and like I said, I'm not perfect, but I've definitely cut what I've eaten, this year, which is very helpful, which has helped me a lot in losing weight. The second thing, and I think is very important, and I'm telling you now, this is something I tried to do in 2011, and I successfully did this for 13 months. I've completely cut out carbonated beverages. It's empty calories. That's all it is. If I'm thirsty, I'll drink water. If I really want something with a little kick, I can just get these, I have some Hawaiian Punch packets, these pouches that you just put in the water and you shake it up. They have like 5 calories a serving. I'll drink that. I'll have some tea. I'll occasionally have some Hawaiian Punch or some lemonade, but I don't go crazy with it because the sugar content is high. But if I'm really thirsty, I just drink water. This, I know it says milk, but the milk has since, has since dissipated. But I use this as my water jug, this and another jug that I have nearby. Fill it with water, put it in the freezer, and when I'm thirsty, I consume. So, yeah, this was a very long video. Thank you for sitting through this very long video, but I appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for the support. I'm still going at it. I've made a lot of progress, but I've got a long way to go. Bonanza 86, y'all have a good night.